name is Jack Ward. I'm a songwriter, producer, artist, general creative, and I'm based in Limerick in Ireland. Music has always interested me ever since I was a kid, like as in I love the kind of stories behind how certain songs and even like sounds are made in themselves. And I specifically remember listening to One Republic Apologize, and I don't know if you know the snare clap in that song, but I spent the longest time trying to figure out if there was a drum rack that basically made that sound itself, but I didn't realize it was synthesizers. I didn't realize you could make sounds with a computer at this stage. So on my research into that, which I guess was just the bare bones of the internet, I was trying to figure out what kind of drum set can I make that makes that snare sound. And when I came across synthesizers, I was like, you can make sounds from scratch? These digitized sounds? That's where my whole fascination, I guess, started with music, and it just kind of led on from there, really. But that was definitely the seeds of what was to come. The type of music that I make usually, it revolves kind of around pop music and house. There's these two main genres. But when you listen to my stuff, you're kind of like, well, what is this? Like it kind of, it can be anything, it can be nothing. But I think it draws from a lot of influences. I'm like a sponge, like I'll just soak up anything that's around me. So in that sense, it's probably went on to my music in the fact that it's not one single thing. It's a mix of everything. So you're getting your pop, your house, your techno, and you're mashing it all in together into one kind of big ball of just creative buzz, I would say. And yeah, I guess I can't really pick one single genre, just taken from loads. My favourite song that I've done so far is probably the one that started a lot of things for me, My Angel Rocks Forth and Back. That's a song that I wrote during lockdown here in Ireland with the pandemic, and I guess releasing that into the world was really cathartic because it got a bit of attention with regarding like journalists and criticism and acclaim as well, so that opened up a whole new pathway for my music and my career. And for that song I'm always very grateful. It was also great crack to make in general. Like I just remember sitting down and going through each certain sound to build up that song and just really enjoying my time, because I guess in lockdown there really wasn't much else to do but work on music, so it became escapism for me, which was super important during that time. And what makes a good song for me, it can be many things. Like it's not just one thing. Kind of like as well the stuff I make, it comes from all different directions. I'm a huge earworm kind of person. I like when something sounds catchy, so it can be a certain type of drum sound, it can be a certain vocal riff, and that to me, it reels me back in. I like the idea of like songs becoming catchy or needing repeated listens. And what makes a good song to me is if it's basically chucked full of those earworms just at the right places. That's why I think I like a lot of pop music, because they're like designed to be as catchy as possible. And that concept to me is so interesting, because it's fascinating that we can make melodies and songs that inhibit that repeated listening. And to go back to it, there's many things that can make a good song, but overall it has to be catchy, earworm. Stuff that I'm seeing on Instagram that day, if I'm around nature and I see a nice tree or there's like a nice shade of colour in the sky, anything can inspire me, because my brain is just like a sponge. It soaks up all the things, both good and bad. And I guess I can be so sensitive as to like, if something is in my peripheral vision that day that I don't like to see, that can definitely make me create a sad or like negative sounding song. And likewise to say, if I just came back from like a really good night out where I was in a club and it was amazing experiences, I could sit on my computer the next day, and what I'm trying to do is essentially like recreate those emotions every single time. So I'm just trying to, it's like another language. I'm just trying to basically rewrite and recreate the emotions that I felt when I saw that tree, went to a club. So what inspires me? The entire world, everything in it, both good and bad. I signed my first deal at 17 years old with a San Francisco-based label called Dirty Bird, and my track Yogurt appeared on the label's 10th anniversary compilation beside like people like Shadow Child and Breach, like people I looked up to so much, and I guess that kickstarted it all for me, so that was really, really special. Some collaborations I was involved with, or very fortunate to be involved with, was Patreon, a Dublin-based label. They put out a charity compilation. It would have been September of 2019, and the funds towards this compilation went towards helping, it's called Mazai is the charity, and it helps people in direct provision, that system that they might get caught up in coming to Ireland. So we were very fortunate to have raised funds for that specific charity. And I was appearing on the compilation with loads of pals of mine, and some pals then I had made whilst being on the compilation. So just super grateful to the Patreon guys for giving my track a chance and putting stuff like that out. And as well, more recently, there was a Dublin-based label called Modem Records, and they put out a compilation, would have been last Christmas. Funds for the compilation went towards helping inner city homeless Dublin. And my track once again appeared on that alongside many other friends of mine, so fantastic opportunities, yeah. And with regards to collaborations, I've been quite a nomad, really. I mean, I've done remixes for friends of mine, but with regards to actually sitting in a studio with someone, that hasn't come yet. But just to know that I'm 100% open to this idea, I guess it just hasn't really come across yet, but hopefully in the future. You asked 2 times too many. It's also disco, I believe. What it is about music that makes me feel passionate is it's the most fascinating thing to ever grace this planet. I mean, it's so beautiful, so confusing, so wonderful, so everything. Like, it is literally frequencies made up that for some reason our ears tend to have a liking to, and we then create words to these frequencies, and it becomes people's wedding songs, it becomes people's song that they love for their entire life. It makes you convey such an array of emotions. Every single person in the world likes music, whether it be, I don't know, jazz, percussion, pop music. Everyone has their own taste because we as humans have created this entire world based around making sounds. How is that not the most beautiful, fascinating, wondrous thing? And I like the idea that excites me so much is that in 20 years, there's going to be a completely different number one song that we've never heard of before in our life. It could sound like anything. That is such an exciting thing that it's constantly evolving. There's new artists coming in, there's new sounds coming in. It will always constantly evolve. That is the most fascinating thing to me in the world. I'm actually currently working on my next EP, which will be out hopefully earlier next year, so that'll be 2023. I got very lucky that I received the Agility Award in Music with the Irish Arts Council, and with that I'm currently making the record with their help and their guidance, and yeah, I'm just so excited about the sounds that I'm making, the world that I'm building, and the fact that I get a chance to share this with people. So stay tuned, hopefully I'll have something to show earlier next year.